All right. So if you guys were not here the last time that we had Alison come on, you missed it. I had so many positive responses, Alison, of when you were on last time. People were just like, oh my gosh, this is such
Oh,
great information.
good.
Very, very positive. I've sent that recording out to many people. So you've impacted and blessed many people with your information, which we're really grateful for. And I was excited to have you come back. And so we're going to continue this conversation. If you weren't on the first call, no problem. You're going to jump right into today. If you were, you remember it. And we're going to go a little bit deeper into it and facilitate a conversation around this. You guys, with homes staying on the market longer than they were before, with the opportunity to take advantage of open houses, I think changing in most markets, all of our markets are a little bit different. This truly is a great opportunity to focus and grow your business if you feel it's good for you and your behavior style and your personality and what you like to do. But you have to be purposeful about it. You've got to learn from people that have had success, and then you've got to implement different things in order to make it an event that's going to bring you value and benefit, not just do it for the sake of doing it, which is what I think a lot of people do, Alison, is they just do the open houses because they think they're supposed to, but with no plan or intentionality around it, it's not going to get you the results you want. Then you're going to get the feedback that open houses don't get me business, and then you're going to stop doing them. And I want to get people into a different mindset about it. And I know you're going to help us do that. So before we do that, though, just a really quick bio or introduction of yourself, just however you feel comfortable would be amazing. I don't want, I know some people are like, don't spend a lot of time on that. I just want to get to my training. But I think it's important to just hear a little bit from you about your experience, and then we'll jump right into it.
Absolutely. And thank you for having me back on. I truly love doing this and helping people to grow their business. So I appreciate the opportunity to talk about this and share my experience. I do hear from many agents, open houses don't work. And I'm here to tell you they do. But as Cari said, it has to be the right fit for you. So pay attention to that when you are choosing what your lead levers are. So for me, I love open houses. Obviously, I'm here talking to you about them today. I got started. So I just hit my 6th anniversary in real estate in February. So I have not been in this business for a very long time. However, what I can tell you is the work works. So I started off 6 years ago and I did open houses. That was my number one lead lever when I got into this business. My first year, I did about 5.5 million in sales, and just kind of kept doubling and so forth. And last year I did just shy of 100 million in sales. So it works. Okay. So just stick with it, be intentional, be purposeful. So that's kind of what I'm going to go over today. I run a team now. I do not personally go and host open houses myself unless they are with other agents or agents that I'm mentoring through EXP. So if you are a local, I'm in Charlotte, I'm happy to come and shadow an open house with you. So I'm going to put that out there. I will come and show you exactly how it's done. I still really enjoy doing it and it's a lot of fun. So first things first, open houses, statistically, 1% of people who come through an open house are actually buying that house. So I want that to sink in because that's why this is such a great lead lever. People love looking at people's houses. It is just this innate thing that people are really excited about. It's why HGTV is so successful, right? So make sure that you're capitalizing on the leads that come through there, not just looking for buyers, but also for sellers. And we're going to dive into how that looks. So first things first, how do you pick an open house? Make sure it meets these criteria. So 1/2 mile from a main intersection, 1/2 mile from grocery store, restaurant, shops. You want amenities nearby, okay? That people are naturally going to be going out on those weekends and visiting. So they see your signage and they decide to make a little detour and come check out your house. 1/2 mile from new home construction community is also a fantastic one because they do a great job of marketing their communities and they have ready-built signage in, already directing people to that area. So capitalize on that, add your own signage, but use that to your advantage. Low days on market. So as Cari said, some of the homes are starting to sit a little bit longer depending on the market you're in. Make sure you're within the first 2 to 3 weeks of it being on market, or they're going to do a price drop. All right. That's really important. You want to host something that is fresh and people are excited and you're going to get a lot of traffic through. The only time you're going to do something that doesn't fit that criteria is if it is new home construction. All right. So that is my one exception to that rule, because people will constantly be coming to look at that new home construction. So you can host a model home or an inventory home, even if it's been there for a little bit, because there's other opportunities coming in. Okay. Any questions about that piece? Great. What drives open house attendance? Signs, signs, signs. I do at a minimum 10 signs for an open house. Typically, I'm going somewhere between 20 and 30. All right. Now pay attention to the timing on that. You want to make sure that if there's an HOA, you're following the rules. If in Charlotte, for example, you're not putting those signs out until after 4 o'clock on Friday, because I'm going to call them the sign police, but they will go around and pick up your signs and fine you. So you want to be careful and pay attention and then pick them up before 9 a.m. on Monday. So look into your area and what the rules are about that. But literally I've had people come to my open houses and be like, I'm not even in the market for a house. And I'm like, you aren't yet, but you are now after I talk to you. But because I put so many out, so I'm going to make sure any turns that they have to get to my house, I'm telling them exactly where to turn. And then at that main intersection, there are a minimum of 10 signs out, just slammed together there, because subconsciously we're driving by, we're seeing all of these signs that different realtors have out. We're not going to notice if there's 1 or 2 out there. But if I've got 10 of the same exact sign, you know, these people are turning in because they're like, this lady's crazy. Who put that many signs out? This must be an amazing house. Let me come in. And I've had people come in and be like, I just felt like I had to come here because I saw all of your signs. And I was like, they really want me here. And I'm like, yes, I do. Great. Come on in. Okay. Internet. So if you're a big social media person, do some quick sneak peek videos. I used to do little selfie videos and I'd start showing them the house, but not give them the whole thing. They're like, you want to see more? Come on and see me. I'll be here Saturday from 11 to 2, Sunday from 2 to 4, whatever your times are. Okay. So using social media, make sure if it's your listing or you're hosting for somebody else, that it is posted in the MLS. So it gets syndicated out to Zillow and Realtor.com. That is where buyers, especially unrepresented ones, are going to pull this information. So make sure it's there. Okay. Good weather always helps. The good news is if it's crappy weather and people come out, you know, they're very serious and they're highly motivated to go. But if it's good weather, chances are you're going to get a lot more foot traffic coming through. Days on market, again, we touched on that. And then I always do door knocking. I put cold calls on here. I've done that before. It's not personally, again, line up with what you love to do. I'm not a cold caller, not my favorite thing. But I know some agents who do this with their open houses and it's very successful for them. I like door knocking. Either will work. You can circle dial up to a mile radius of the house, invite them to come to your open house and participate. If they're like, hey, I already own a house here, great. I'd love your feedback. What do you love about the neighborhood? Build a conversation with them. There's your seller leads. And then same thing, door knocking. You want to show these neighbors that you are an amazing professional and you're going to crush it when you get their house to sell too. So go around, introduce yourself, door knock ahead of the open house. I always invite the sellers to come a half an hour early and I show up and actually do an extended time, but I don't publicize it. And I have them come so that I know when I'm doing my conversations, I am only using my seller scripts. All right. So it just makes it easier, especially as you're a newer agent starting out. You're not worried about trying to transition back and forth as you're figuring out those scripts. Focus in on the sellers for that first 30 minutes. And then, you know, after that, you're predominantly going to have buyers. Any questions with that stuff? Great.
Anyone, don't be
Okay.
shy.
Oh, I see a hand. Matthew?
I would
Yeah.
just say then, if you're putting that many signs up, right, like 10 to 30, but then you're inviting people early, do you have signs out? Because if you have signs out already, don't other people come that weren't invited early, or how do you manage that part?
Yep. So sometimes people do. So I put out all of my kind of, I'll call it the usual signage. All right. I will put that out usually that Friday night beforehand. And then right before I come to show up for the open house is when I slam that main intersection. So I do it right as I'm getting started. Do you have some overlap? Absolutely. It's going to happen. Same thing. You're going to have some sellers that they don't make it till the tail end. They were out doing whatever. You're just kind of setting yourself up for best practices of how do I focus in and get in front of the sellers in the neighborhood And again, as a newer agent, how do you get as much concentration of that particular group at once? Nicole?
Hi.
Hello.
Sorry, I haven't been on camera because I'm doing my makeup. Do you recommend doing these open houses with an additional agent and or lender to help spread yourself out a little bit?
So yes, so I recommend doing it with a buddy for 2 reasons. One is safety, especially with door knocking. I strongly advise that my agents never door knock alone. I never did it alone and I never will. You just always want to have that buddy system for the safety. It doesn't have to be another agent. My husband will tell you I dragged him on many open houses my first 2 years in the business. So he was a great partner to have. You don't have to share leads with a non-realtor, right? But so he would sit there and he would just be at the open house, or he'd kind of go out and door knock with me. Lenders are great partners, insurance agents, you name it, any of the vendors that you work with, those are great people to come and be a part of it. I will tell you, most of your vendor partners aren't necessarily going to be excited about door knocking. So the way I present it to them is we're going around with an invitation to a party. All right. Who's not excited to get invited to a party? The party is my amazing open house that they're going to come and participate in, but I'm giving you an invitation to come. And a lot of sellers are shocked when you're like, oh, no, I'm not trying to solicit you. I just wanted to come and invite you to my open house. And I literally will hand out invitations. And I'm like, you're invited to my open house. It's the simplest thing ever. People love getting invited to participate. So it's a great way. And then it puts that other vending partner at ease because you're like, hey, I've already got the stuff here. Right. And then oftentimes they'll be like, oh, okay, I'll pay for printing that. Don't worry. I've got that. I'll provide the snacks and things for your open house. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. So how do you set up? What does the week look like? So this was my schedule. This gets you the time to do the most prep. And again, like Cari said, being intentional about it. So Monday, Tuesday, I'm picking the house. How am I doing that? I am calling through all of my new home construction partners in the neighborhoods that I'm focusing in on and seeing what inventory homes they have available so I can come and help them out. Most of these people are horribly understaffed, especially on the weekends. Still blows my mind. They love having a partner out there so that they don't have to run back and forth between houses. And they've got somebody that they know is sitting there and they can just say, hey, Cari, thanks so much for coming in. Why don't you go ahead and head over to this house? Here's how you get there. My colleague Alison is waiting there for you. She'll help tour you around, right? Huge bonus for them. Bring them a cup of coffee when you come in. They love you. All right. So doing that piece, or if it's your own listing, obviously that's a no-brainer, or run through your firm. Who has listings that are in your area? Become one of their go-to agents. A lot of agents don't actually like hosting open houses, especially listing agents. So go find those people that are the rock star listing agents at your firm, and you build a relationship with them and be like, I want to be your go-to. Every time you have a listing, I want to be your person. Okay. I did some that frankly did not quite fall into the parameters of what makes a good open house, but I would do it because it was a huge favor to that listing agent in my office. And I knew they would reward me by giving me that prime one that I did want, because I actually was willing to do the crappy ones too. All right. So I could be reliable for them. So once you've identified that, then on Wednesday, make sure the MLS is updated and you have the open house days and times in there. Make sure it's gone out to Realtor and Zillow. If it hasn't, reach out to that listing agent and just give them a gentle nudge of please make sure, or do you have a transaction coordinator I can contact, help them get it done. Make sure the sellers are aware that you're hosting, especially if it's not a vacant home. I would always email the listing agent and say, here is my game plan. This is exactly what my time frame is going to look like. Is this okay with you and your clients? Please confirm. That way there's no surprise. And when you're showing up, the sellers are, no, this is the time you're going to be there. This is when you're going to be there till, and you're not having to awkwardly be like, so are you going to leave the house now? Because I'm ready. Like, could you just step out, So that's really important. Thursday is when I would door knock, or if you're going to circle dial, you can do that day. That's a great way. You're close enough to the weekend. People don't tend to forget. But it's a good way to go out. I used to just grab off of Amazon these like plastic bags that have the little door hanger thing, and I just toss my invitation in it if they're not home, so they got it. What did that look like? Again, it's a simple invitation. Here's the address. Here is the days and times for the open house with my contact information on it. And then on the back side, I would have a little market update on kind of what's going on in that neighborhood. Friday night, Saturday morning, and again, this is going to depend on what the parameters are in your particular location. Go out, set up all of the directionals except for the ones that you're slamming the main intersection with. Okay. So you've got all of your work done. So when you're pulling in the next day, you're literally just dumping all those signs right away, and then you're going. Know the HOA rules. I'm going to stress that one again. I lost a lot of signs my first year, and we all know how expensive those are because I did not pay attention to the HOA rules, or I wouldn't call and ask ahead of time. So do your research back when you're picking that house on Monday, Tuesday, find out if there is an HOA, and if there is, call them. Hey, I'm going to be hosting this open house. Is it okay if I do the following? And I swear to you, I will have all of my signs gone by this time on this date. And what I will tell you is if you do a good job, again, it's all about relationships. A lot of those HOA associations, if they know you're going to pick up your signs and they're not going to see them for the next 3 weeks, even though you're not still hosting, sometimes they will bend the rules and let you get away with it. Okay. So what happens when we're hosting? As I said, show up 30 minutes prior. Have that be your period for the sellers, but also, you know, as Matthew pointed out, sometimes people are going to come early. They're going to see those signs. They don't pay attention to the date and time signs. So make sure that you're there ahead of time. Get all the lights on, all the blinds open. Do a quick walk through the house. Make sure any personal items are put away. I have found some interesting things over the years, and I'm like, no, I don't think you want the general public seeing those. You know, just kind of do a quick tidy up and make sure the house looks as great as it possibly can. Know the stats about the house. All right. Know what you're actually there to present to them. Know the area. Why does somebody want to live there? Why are they coming to look at that neighborhood? Is it because they've got phenomenal amenities? Know those amenities. Is there a pool? Is there a playground? If it's part of a club, is that an optional one, or is it something that's guaranteed if they buy that house? What does that membership look like? Know that information to make you be an area expert for these people. Because again, chances are they're not buying that house, but you want them to be buying the house that they are with you. Okay. Any questions? Okay. Have people sign in. Oh, Matthew.
That was my question, because my son's a realtor with me, and we do use sign-in sheets, which, you know, with the pen, and some people sometimes are reluctant. But I just learned that KV Core. Do you use KV Core?
I do use it, but not for open houses. Let me correct
Okay,
that.
because I just heard that KV Core has an app that you can put on a little iPad, and then if they log in, it puts them in your CRM automatically, which might be
Correct.
easier. But okay.
That is definitely.
Matthew, they do. So I use that. And the nice thing about it is that you make an open house specifically for that property. So then they're tagged with that property address as that open house in your CRM. So it's really nice. And I don't allow people to go in my computer. I just ask them and I put it in. So you can do both ways though.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, so I don't use the KV Core one. When I used to do this, I used a app that was literally called Open Home Pro. It's the same exact thing. It just gave me a spreadsheet that I could import into my database. I didn't have KV Core back then. The other thing too is I will tell you, I am not the most tech savvy realtor there is. I am learning. But so when it comes to open houses, I put links in here for you guys so you can just kind of click on them. But I literally just have a feedback sheet. So that was one of the things I ran into a lot of times is people were really hesitant to give their contact information. And it's a little awkward. And I tried changing up my script of, oh, okay, welcome so much. The seller would really like it if you do this. And I just kind of got mixed reviews. So what I ended up finding really worked is there's a company called All Things Real Estate, and it's literally the silliest piece of paper ever, but I love it and it works. And we've since taken it and kind of tweaked it a little bit and branded it to my company. But literally it is like a little feedback sheet. So it's what are the top 3 things you liked and what are the top 3 things you don't like. So 2 things that I found when I switched to using this a few years ago, it's an easier conversation of, hey, welcome to my open house. Here is some information on the house. Would you like me to tour you around, or would you like you to tour yourselves? That's a question I always ask. And would you mind just filling this out as you go through? So I have a few copies and I'll have like little clipboards and pens. Would you mind filling this out for me as you go around the house? It's really important to me to provide the best feedback possible to the sellers. Thank you for sharing this information. All right. What I found is people feel important because you're asking for their opinion, and it's not just a yes or no answer. So you're really getting them engaged in it. It makes them think more on the house. So even if they are represented by an agent already, the agents are really happy with me because their client is now coming to them with a little bit more concise direction of what they like. And then from a standpoint of if I do get to represent them, I now have a better idea based on that house of features they are and aren't looking for. So now I can find them their home quicker. And from the listing agent that I'm working for, I'm able to say, hey, listing agent, here's the feedback from the open house. It's very clear and concise exactly what they like and what they don't like. 9 times out of 10, there is the same thing over and over again that they're all saying they don't like. So if it's something that they can tweak, amazing, right? Is there that hideous purple room in the house? Great. Everybody commented on the purple paint. Nobody's liking it. None of us want to have that conversation with our seller of like, yeah, I know you just spent a lot of money on your quote unquote design color choices. Actually, everybody hates it. So can you please paint that neutral? We don't have to. Now it's like, hey, this is what the buyers are saying. So, right. So it's helpful from a lot of those standpoints. But really the biggest thing is it just takes their guard down. They get off of the defensive and now they're like, oh, great. Let me go through and do this. She actually cares about my opinion.
That's right.
So then do you solicit their feed or their email or name on that sheet?
Oh, yes. So
Okay.
it has name, email. Let me see if I can click in this and if it'll pull it up. It actually worked. There we go. So it has on here name, phone, email. It asks a bunch of different things about, first impression, bathrooms, etc.
Yeah.
And then there's also a line that shares, ask them, are you working with a realtor? And if so, name. Okay. Because that's another thing that I found early on is a lot of people like, oh, I'm working with an agent. Oh, really? Who? If they don't have an answer off the top of their head, they are not working with an agent. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm like, go ahead and put down that you're represented, but I'm still reaching out to you with your email because I know you're not. Right. If they're like, oh, I'm working with Cari Briner, I'm like, okay, cool. Now I can reach out and say, hey, Cari, just a heads up, your clients came through the house. Here was their feedback. Hope that was helpful, right? Building those relationships.
Right.
But so I have found that that has been very, very helpful in getting that conversation going. And then just encouraging them to start having a little bit more dialogue with you because everybody can read that it's a 3-bed, 2-bath. But how much more powerful does that conversation become if they're like, well, I felt like the house was a little too closed off. Okay, so if we took out this wall, like what does that look like for you, right? And then one of my other tricks, which I'll share with you guys, is bringing a list of other homes that are currently for sale in that area. Oh, okay. So Matthew, you're telling me that this is too closed off for you. Did you know around the corner, this other house is currently available and actually it's an open floor plan. Would you like to schedule an appointment to go see that with me? Okay. So now you've got concrete action. And again, you're looking like an area expert, which is what people want. Block your time afterwards. So I used to block an hour for follow-up. I send immediate feedback to the listing agent. So they are not trying to track me down. It leaves me time to go pick up my signs. So I'm not losing them or forgetting, right? And then it also allows me the ability to sit down. And if I don't have KV Core automatically going in, or even if I do, I'm getting them set up on a drip campaign. I'm reaching out and making that first contact right away. All right.
Mhm.
My go-to, I take a selfie video, super quick and easy. I do that for the listing agent and I do that for the people. Hi, this is Alison Alston. It was great to meet you at 123 Main Street today. I hope that the rest of your day is going well. I would love to be of service of you, yada, yada. And then text or email it off to them. All right. I guarantee you there are very few agents who are taking the time to send them a video. They're sending them a text message. They're sending them an email. They might try phone call. Maybe. Most of us don't, let's be honest.
Mhm.
But they definitely are not sending them a selfie video. And
Mhm.
I remember when I was on the other side of this and wasn't a realtor, I used to go through 4 or 5 open houses a weekend. Okay.
Mhm.
So I'm running into all of these agents. They start blurring together.
Mhm.
Okay. So again, feedback to the listing agent within an hour of the end of the open house. You don't want their sellers calling them. You want to help them be proactive. The more we make them look like a rock star, the more open houses they want us to host. Same day follow-up, your video, text message, emails, what you're comfortable with, set them up on a property alert. So we've got KV Core, for example, go in there, set them up on a property search based around the parameters of that house you just hosted. There's a safe place to start. If you had a conversation with them and you got a little bit more in depth of what they're looking for, do it around that. Okay. But this is now an automated touch point. People's number one complaint about realtors is that we don't communicate. So now
Mhm.
you've communicated them well in person. You have followed up immediately with an email, text, and now you've set them up on a property alert and you're giving them something of value. Those are
Mhm.
3 great immediate ways to stand out from your competitors, who, by the way, probably aren't getting around to this until maybe best case Monday, maybe. Okay. So you do this that weekend. That next day, so I have follow up on Monday. I tended to do more open houses on Sundays, but if you're doing it on Saturday, follow up on Sunday, confirm they received the email. Hey, Cari, just wanted to check in, make sure you got this alert. I set up a property search for you based around this. If you'd like me to make any changes, please let me know. Okay. Pro tips for you, bringing a list of open houses in the area. There's another quick one to stand out. Agents are like, why am I going to send them to another agent's open house? Because you're awesome and you just closed them before they even left yours. Okay. So that agent's no longer competition, but also you're now showing them, I'm an amazing realtor. I know you're not going and shopping me because I'm that good at my job. So by the way, here's some other people in the area. Go ahead and check out that house because I know it's a great one. Okay. But you're already closing them that way. Bring a list of similar homes for sale in the area. Ask if there's homes that they might be interested in seeing. So this is another great reason to have a buddy. And this is where it can be really helpful if they are licensed. So eventually my husband will tell you, he was a financial analyst. I made him go get his real estate license because I was like, you know, it would be really helpful if somebody comes through and they're really hot and I do have a house right around the corner, I can go show them. And I start talking like, yeah, that'd be great. Can we go see it? I can now leave him at the open house, go run and do the showing and come back. Right. So it's like, he's still keeping the open house going, keeping my promise there, but I'm not losing that opportunity to go show that property and get that extra one-on-one time with them to close them. Okay. And then pro tip number 3, again, bringing a buddy for all of those reasons, but number 1 reason is safety. Please be careful. Do not go door knocking on your own. Don't be hosting a vacant house alone. New construction would be my one exception. If you know there's an on-site agent there, great, they're keeping an eye out. But otherwise, you do not want to be alone. All right. That's what I got. I hope I wrapped
One
that up.
other thing that I would say is we do this here with my husband's team, where if there's multiple listings in kind of a similar neighborhood or really kind of fairly close together, you know, they'll either manage the flow and they'll send to each other if it's close enough and you know that your teammate is just a few doors down. That helps from a safety perspective too.
Absolutely.
So, but I love bringing a lender with, bringing, you know, someone else like a vendor, like we've talked about, even, you know, someone else that can bring a different perspective with that gets benefit from it too. So I think that's a great idea that you mentioned.
Yeah, especially like my favorite thing, if it's an older house and it needs some work, I would bring a contractor, bring one of your contractor partners. Hey, would you mind coming to this open house? Because this is a great opportunity for you to get some business. I can talk about, I've got an ability to see a vision. All right. But I can't tell you exactly how much it's going to cost. So now I've got my contractor and I'm like, hey, John, here's what I'm thinking. What do you think that would cost? And now all of a sudden this house that people are kind of like on the fence about, they're really excited about, and it's now opened them up to the potential of, oh, I could do a fixer. And by the way, this is the agent I want to work with because she's got the people I need to do this. Right.
Mhm. What other questions, you guys? Let me look and see. I don't have any questions from our viewers online, but we have a lot of people actually watching. We got a number of thumbs up. So hi to you guys again. Chat in the live stream if you want, if you have a question, and I'll watch for that. Anybody here that's live on the Zoom, unmute yourself. Don't be shy. Let's ask a couple of questions as we wrap up here.
I see
It looks like Matthew
Jennifer's
has one.
asking.
Okay.
I got all my questions answered, but I would say too, like for safety, especially for female realtors, have a plan, right? Like never go into a bedroom if you're showing the property to them before they go in. And also, we
Right.
used to have in our office where if an agent called, like she felt uncomfortable, she could call in and say, hi, this is Lisa Smith. I'm doing an open house at 1411 Cedar Street. There's a red file on my desk. Could you check that for me? And that really meant she gave you the address, and a red file meant like 911 kind of thing, but have a plan that way because you just never know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, so on our team, our calendars are all public to each other. We
Yeah.
share them. So we always know where someone's supposed to be and when, so we can kind of keep an eye out for that. I love the red file idea. I think that's a great one. I've heard
Yep.
people use passwords, like safe words, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And there's even those bracelets and necklaces that it's almost like I've fallen in, I can't get up. You pull it and it's a little alert. It tells somebody where you are in your location.
Yep, exactly.
Can you tell I was a social worker for 20 years? Before I was
like, what did you used to do?
I love it. It's awesome.
Let's see. I'm just
Awesome.
trying to
So
grab
there's a
these
couple of quick
links.
questions, I think, in the chat. What do you use to
Yep.
circle calls to get numbers?
So I don't do circle calling anymore. I used to use Redbox. I can get a list of stuff for you guys. I'm putting the links in here right now. But I would say it was like 50-50 on whether or not it was the right person. And again, I'm just not a cold caller. I realized that about myself. So I did not particularly do that. Has anybody else used circle dialing as a thing?
Yeah, my son and I use Mojo Dialer, and when we do circle prospect, you can call them and say, I want this neighborhood. They charge you to get the number specifically for the neighborhood, but we do that all the time.
Yeah, everybody charges. I used to just ask my lender to cover the expense. So that's something you can definitely reach out and talk to them about. It's a marketing expense.
One of my big ahas was the half a mile from like the main intersections, grocery stores, those kinds of things. And I found in the past that you can also, purchase, we had one recently where they had a donut store that was like fancy and fun. And so we got donuts there and brought those to the open house. So we were promoting the local businesses. And then I also like your selfie video too, because what I've tended to do after I do my email is I'll do like a voice message. So just sending them a quick voice message, but doing a video is the same kind of thing. So doing that was my big thing. Like I could easily implement that and it would really help stand out.
And it's a lot, again, time. It's a lot quicker than sitting and typing out an email to everybody, or even you've got the automated. People are skeptical that everything's automated anymore. No one can duplicate your face, right? So doing that, I also, when I first started, I used to be like, hi, Cari, this is so-and-so. Hi, Jackson, this is you can just say, hey, it was great. Just do it once and send it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Save it in your
don't overdo
videos
it.
and
Yeah. And then just saw, Nicole, I was like, somebody has a hand up.
It's me. Do you ever go live during your open houses on social?
I did. So when COVID hit, we actually did full virtual open houses. So I used to use Zoom, and we would actually do a walkthrough using the Matterport tour. And so I did that live, and then we would publish it on Instagram. That was kind of our preferred platform. I started doing them in person as restrictions eased up and I was allowed in the house. And so I would do like the video tour that way. So you can certainly do that. Again, I don't do that now, and I didn't do it beforehand. And here's why. I like the ability. Zoom was great because I made them provide an email. So I had that contact information to follow up. Instagram Live, you're not necessarily connecting with them. So that's kind of the downside of it. And face-to-face is always my preferred because you're getting the full interaction with them. But yes, you could certainly spread some of it. For me at this point, now that COVID's not, thankfully no longer shutting us down, I tend to just do the face-to-face, and I just do that quick little intro thing on Facebook, Instagram, my little mini video, usually that Thursday, Friday beforehand of, hey, I'm going to be here. Here's when. Another great little win, whether it's your listing, or if it is another agent's, for the sellers, I bring flowers to them. It makes sure that there's something really nice in the house. But it's also a nice, pleasant surprise that they're like, wow, this is great. And so it's, again, making that listing agent look like a rock star. And they're like, oh, your colleague was so sweet and thoughtful. They brought flowers for us as a thank you for giving them the time in the house. Like, how unexpected. And they're like, oh yeah, of course. Like, that's a great reflection on that listing agent that they brought a kind professional in to do it. It's these little gestures that go a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Very cool. Any other questions? Did we catch all the questions in the chat? Let me look. Here's the links. Mojo dialer. Okay.
Great.
Plants. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Make sure they're pet safe. If they have pets, good point. You don't want to accidentally
Yes.
create something that you don't, an unintended consequence. Good point.
So our florist, and this is just a quick call to the florist, that is a great point, and thank you for bringing it up. Our florist just kind of has a standard bouquet on hand that we're like, okay, make sure cats, dogs, we're good. Nothing prickly. We don't want kids. Yep.
Yeah.
So if you just call your local florist and just kind of set that up. And also, again, they'll give you a discount because you're doing it continuously, because flowers can get expensive. So that's an easy way to do that.
Love it.
Let me ask one more thing real quick. So when you do your little video saying, do you have a script like, hi, Lisa, thank you for stopping by 124 Cedar Street today. I just wanted to connect. Do you have a certain thing you say?
Yes and no. So it's always myself, the address, the date that we were there. And then the no part is, it's going to depend on the house. So if it's a fixer, I'm going to say, I hope you were able to see the potential here. If you'd like to dive into that and come back for a second showing to look through this with me, I'd be happy to meet you and walk through and do that. If it's not a fixer, then I'm like, I'll call out a specific feature of the house. Weren't those tile floors in the primary suite amazing? Find something unique about the property to call out, because I want them to remember not only myself, but also that property, so they can connect the two. And that's kind of something that they can be excited about. Right. But yeah. And then I'm always closing it with, again, thank you for stopping by today. I look forward to the next time we see each other. I am assumptive closing the crap out of them every single time. Okay.
Assumptive closes cannot be used enough, you guys. People will just say yes. Most people don't believe me, but I built my entire career on assumptive close. I can't wait until we work together. I'm looking forward to working with you. This is going to be so much fun.
Yes.
And people are like, yes, it's going to be okay. Like they don't want to fight against something like that. And they just will say yes. Make it easy for them to say yes. Make it easy for them and not having to make all these decisions. If we question, if we're going to be working together, of course they're going to question it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another great one is, oh, I know this isn't the house for you. I look forward to the day when we find the one that is. I can't wait to be at the closing table with you to celebrate that. That's going to feel amazing. Right?
Amazing.
So it's like just using those closes constantly in it.
Love it. Those are scripts you should use in every conversation, you guys. I hope that you are writing that down.
Yes.
That is
Yeah.
really, really important.
Agency appointments, same thing. When I list your house, when we close on your house, okay, you're always, it's happening and I'm going to be your person.
Yep. Love it. Love it. That's probably a great place. That is probably a great place to end the call. If you guys, I did post the links that Allison put here in the chat in our workplace under the live
Thank
stream.
you.
So you guys can go back and get that. You guys, I'm telling you, look at the success Allison has had in 6 years. It's truly inspiring. You can be anywhere you want to be in 5 years. I always tell people, if you just start now and really just own something, dedicate to this and just go do it like a rock star, or do whatever you're going to do like a rock star.
Right.
We are all doing the same lead generation tactics, but open houses can be extremely lucrative. I personally built my entire business on it. And I know a lot of people who have, and it's affordable. I mean, it costs time, but it doesn't cost a lot of money. You have to be consistent and you have to make it an event, and you have to be purposeful and intentional with anything that you do, but absolutely with open houses as well. And you can build your business just like Alison has. There's just no doubt about it. The cool thing is with EXP, you can pull any EXP listing in your entire state, and you can ask their permission and you can say, can I market your listing and can I do an open house? Well, we aren't franchise models, so we don't have to stay just in our little office. The world is our oyster, so to speak, right? So take full advantage of it. Make sure that you're just, you're really becoming more purposeful if this is one of your lead generation tactics. And if we can help you in any way, please reach out to us. You know that we are on Work Chat. We're here to help. I'll have this video back out on my YouTube within 24 hours. So if you want to pull it and reach out to somebody and invite them to watch it, if it helps them, if you know somebody that's trying to build their business in open houses, this would be a great blessing to them. Of course, it's always in our live stream and EXP family tree as well. Allison, you're always amazing. We truly appreciate you. You bring great value every time. Thank you for being part of our EXP family tree and always giving of your time. We really do appreciate it.
Well, thank you for coordinating all of this, Cari. I really appreciate it. And seriously, as Cari said, I'm on Work Chat. You guys have my email, phone number, whatever. Call me, reach out. I'm always happy to help. If you feel like you're kind of running into the same problem over and over again, let's talk through it.
Love it. Awesome, you guys. That's what this culture is about. We really are fortunate. So let's take advantage. Nice to see all of you. And we'll see you if you are in my revenue share group Thursdays. Remember, we have our accountability and coaching calls. So join me. Otherwise, we'll see the rest of you back here on Monday. Thanks, everybody.
Yes. Bye. Thanks, Cari.
Bye.